Looking at the test number 1 practice problem set, and I'm looking at question 50, where I'm asked to find the domain of the function q of t, which is 8 minus t squared over t plus 9. So when I look for the domain of a function, and not a composition or an operation, but just a function, the two things I'm looking for are the domain restrictions. What can't happen? So, for example, I can't have a negative under a square root. And I can't have a 0 in the denominator. I don't have a square root in this problem, but I do have a denominator. So since I have a denominator, I need to take that denominator and say, well, whatever that ends up being cannot be 0. So I say t plus 9 cannot be 0. So how does t plus 9 become 0? Well, I solve the equation t plus 9 equals 0, and I say this can't happen. So solving for that, I subtract 9 from both sides, and I get t equals negative 9. So if I plugged in a negative 9 into that original equation, then I would find I would get 0 in denominator. So that's undefined, right? So that tells me I shouldn't have put a box around that, because my final answer is t is not equal to negative 9. Let's see. So our answer for number 50 has to be in interval notation. So how do I write an interval while leaving out a number? My interval is, if it's everything except that one number, then it's kind of like going from negative infinity to infinity with my open parentheses, except I have to leave out that negative 9. So negative infinity all the way up to the negative 9, and then leave it out by putting parentheses around the negative 9. Parentheses means it's not included. So that includes everything from negative infinity to infinity except for the negative 9. So there is the answer I'm going to put in my computer for my interval notation. So that interval has number. Okay, so the number of intervals in the domain. So there's actually 2 intervals. So I'll hit 2 and I should get some options now. Okay, there. My format on the left one is open parentheses, because infinities always have an open parenthesis, and when I leave a number out, it's an open parenthesis. So they'll both be open. And the first one I have, let's see, negative infinity. I can type INF, or I can use the keyboard on the screen to in the symbols and get infinity. That goes up to negative 9. Going back to my numbers to get the negative numbers. There we go, negative 9. And then negative 9. And then a positive infinity. And then click outside of the field so that nothing's highlighted, everything's saved, and I click submit answer. Ah, yikes. So it says my answer is incorrect, so I want to look at what the solution is and see, did I do something wrong, or is there an error in the answer key? See, I had a little typo there with the comma in front of the negative 9. So if that were to happen on my test, I would take a screenshot of this, send it to my professor and say, I had a little typo, but as you can see, I knew the answer. I just did one too many commas. So verifying that that is the correct answer. I wouldn't see this if on the test, you won't see this until you actually go back and look at your test after the deadline, because you won't get immediate results on your answers. So when the test is graded, it's really important that you go back and you double check that everything was graded fairly and correctly and there's no computer errors or typo errors. And if there's anything in question, then you need to message me to get that manually corrected.